Welcome back to another video. In today's video we're still kind of looking at animals, but we're looking at what we're feeding. So in today's video we're going to focus on our barley. So any subscribers will know how we grow barley, but if you're not one of my subscribers you wouldn't know that. So at the minute we have 25 acres of winter barley growing, and we're hoping to sow another 5 acres here in the next week of spring barley. So that'll bring us up to 30 acres of barley this year. We aim to have about 20 acres every year so that you could get 150 to 200 bales of straw, and then we keep about 30 to 35 tonne of grain every year, and we roll it and we treat it with the urea based treatment, which ups the protein by, I want to say, 5%, so it'll bring it from your usual 7 to 9 to 12 to 14, and we've been doing that the last 3 years and it's been doing a good job. So we got Gavin Tully up from Camolan down County Wexford, and he does the rolling for us. So as I was saying, Gavin Tully comes up and he rolls it for us, and I have a video of it from rolling the barley this year. The thumbnail is a video of me wrapping square bales by hand, so it's a recent enough video, maybe 10 videos ago, and maybe it's more, but you can go back and look at it if you want to see what I'm on about. So basically you're breaking the grain, which makes it more digestible for the cattle, because full grain just passes straight through the rumen and you don't get the full potential out of it. So at the minute we feed barley just via buckets. So the buckets we use at the minute are actually old oil drums, and there's about 8.5–9 kilos in each of them, and most groups get 4 buckets of them a day. So the most we feed is probably 3 kilos per head per day, and that's on our fattening stock. So that'd be like our weanlings from last year, so our heifers and our bulls that we're trying to move on, and then everything else is kind of just on 1.5 to 2 kilos just to keep them ticking along. But as I was saying, we grow the barley for ourselves and then we sell a bit to our local merchant, and then all the straw we keep ourselves, because we're always chasing ourselves. A few years ago we were selling a bit of straw, but ever since we've just found ourselves a bit tight. So we're trying to build back up our stock, but we're just not getting the greatest straw yields. So we've just had, the last 2 years ago we'd winter barley and we just had an awful harvest. We couldn't get the straw dry and that cost us a lot. And then last year we only had spring barley, so you won't get the same yield of straw off spring barley as you will off winter barley. So that's why we're kind of a bit short here at the minute. But hopefully that makes sense. If you've any questions, as always, feel free to leave them down below in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. So everything on the farm gets fed a bit of barley, and at the minute what we do is we have it still in the same crimp pit. So that's what it's called when you roll it and treat it. It's called crimping. So it's still sitting in the shed behind or beside the young heifers, and every week we go in and we take 2 full loader buckets, our mixer bucket, and I'd say there's about a tonne in the mixer bucket, or in 2 mixer buckets, 500 kilos maybe, or 400 kilos, but I'd say we're feeding about a tonne of meal a week. And we get the mixer bucket and we scoop it up out of the pile, and we'll add soya, molasses and a bit of seaweed, and the mixer bucket does exactly what you think it'll do. It mixes it all up and then we run it out of the mixer bucket into the grey plastic tubs, which are old baby leaf tubs. So we bought new ones a few years ago, and they're still in the pack house. They are kept for baby leaf and baby leaf only, just for cross contamination. You don't want to be running the risk of any of that. So we've got separate tubs for the meal and separate tubs for the baby leaf. So each one of them holds about 200 kilos, maybe 250. Depends on how much molasses you add to it and that kind of thing. And then we feed about, not quite one of them a day, but close enough. I'll just jump out here now in a minute and I'll show you where they are. It's a little bit of a mess at the minute, just in the middle of calving. So we've got a cow in the old shed in a calving pen, but I'll leave the loader here because we're trying to get this press ready for tomorrow, furrow press that is, because hopefully I'm going to go ploughing to get ground ready for spring barley to sow this week sometime. But I'll just hop out and I'll show you where the meal is kept. So now I'm here stood in what you could call our meal shed, but it's not really, it's just undercover. That's the cows on about in a calving pen, and that's my sister's old pony. But these are the plastic tubs I was on about. So these are what we used to use for baby leaf, but as I said before, they're not for baby leaf anymore. And then these are the old oil drums that we use as meal buckets. So they hold about 8 or 9 kilos depending on the mix. But as you can see, all the tubs are currently empty in here. So we'll just walk around the stack of straw, and that's where the main crimp pit is. So I probably should have turned the lights on before coming back here, but this is some of our barley straw from last year, about all that we have left. And then this is the crimp pit. So as you can see, it's quite compact. It's not like a normal pile of grain would look. It's very steep, and as you'll see from the footage later in the video, it can take a little bit for the loader to get a full bucket out of it. You kind of have to keep scraping off the edge until enough falls down, then you can scoop it up. But this was never compacted. It's just the weight of itself and the fermenting process is what binds it all together. So it's sheeted down, let heat, and then once it heats it does settle, so it's all right. Now you can get a little bit of waste up on the top, which we have got a little bit of, but what you're meant to do is, if you can, once it's fermented, you scoop up the whole pile and move it to another shed, because it kind of just it stops it being so compact. So then it's just meant to be able to breathe better and stay cooler and not sweat. But we just don't have the space to be able to do that, because we've got heifers here and the whole other shed's full of cattle, and the tunnel has ewes in it. But that's about it from me today. So as always, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully Saturday's video next week will be me ploughing for spring barley 2025, and that'll be a good start made on having crimp for next year and having straw and having everything ready. But that is it from me today. I'll see you in the next one.
Chasing the horizon with you. I don't need to look no further. You are the one I'm certain, only one that I'll be holding. When you're loving me, it goes like